Welcome to the Cheers to Comics podcast. I'm Brian Wayne, and this is episode 32 and a half. Essentially, this is just War of the Realms talk because of all of the tie-ins that came in this week. So, just like all the other disclosures, I cuss a lot, and it's all spoilers. So, if you're not into that stuff, put your drink down. If you are, fill it up. Let's talk comic books. Just a little bit of news, actually, within the last, 12 hours between recording. My local comic book store it got broken into. And some may say, well, no one gives a shit about local news. This isn't just any local comic book store. This is the world's largest comic book store. So you can imagine the inventory that was taken. So from one nerd to another, we know we don't appreciate that shit. Use the internet, find out what you can as far as the books that were stolen. They're all high-grade stuff. Every single one of the books was, I think the lowest cost of any of the books on there. And I think there's 25 books or so that were stolen. The lowest one was like $800, and they range up to 15 grand, I believe. I could be off. Go find out yourself. Just go to the Mile High website, Facebook, wherever you do that shit. It's all over the place. So that's a fucking bummer. But now we're going to talk about War of the Realms. And, there was, just like I had predicted, nine fucking tie-ins this week. Some better than others. I'm okay with that. They can't all be winners. I actually went into reading. I didn't expect much out of any of these. I had decent hopes for Punisher just because of how good it was the first time I read it, but we'll talk more about that later. Let's start out with Strikeforce, Land of the Giants. All right. Tom Taylor, Jorge Molina, Adriano De Benedetto, and David Curiel doing the colors. Cover by Jorge Molina. I went into this with the lowest of expectations. The strike forces have been put together for quite some time now. And really, we know what's happening. We know what Captain America's Strike Force team was set out to do. And if you've been following this event at all, you don't even have to be reading any of the tie-ins to know. You could have just read the last issue of War of the Realms, issue number 4, to know that Thor's back. So Strikeforce, Land of the Giants, mission accomplished, right? What could we possibly fucking want to read this book for? That's the idea I went in with. Well, I'll tell you, we get a lot of questions answered here, and it's not. So we finally know why Spider-Man, how everyone got their Asgardian shields. Spider-Man gets a shield and an axe, and then we find out that's not just any axe. That was Thor's axe as a baby, not a child, a baby. Keep in mind, Tom Taylor is writing this book, and when that happens, it's going to be good. And I will say that every single one of these panels in here and every single page is worth taking your time and really appreciating, because this is, as far as memorable and quotable lines go, requotable lines, this is Big Lebowski status. In that movie, every single line, you just mention it, and it came from the Big Lebowski. Read this book twice, and you'll have those same moments. We get Spider-Man on a fucking horse with, not just a horse, a Pegasus with Captain America. Come on. That's great. That's so good. And essentially, it's the forming of the team from the beginning. Captain America coming into Brooklyn, picks up Spidey. I'm forming a team. Here's an axe. Here's a shield. Why would I want a shield? Oh, wait. Sorry, Cap. No offense. Shields could be useful. You see where this is going here? Remember, Wolverine, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage are also on this team. Now, they all got their own Pegasus. Spidey names his Buttercup, because what the fuck else do you name a Pegasus, right? They go into battle. All the Pegasus die, because, they're in Jotunheim fighting giants, and giants ain't afraid of no horses. All of them die, except for Buttercup, but as Buttercup is mourning the fallen Pegasi? Starts talking. Spider-Man says, "Whoa, I didn't know you could talk." Well, this ain't no regular Pegasus. This is Queen Arctorius. God, that's a mouthful to say. Queen Arctorius. She starts talking, says, "No, my name is not Buttercup, but I kind of liked it, Spider-Man. Why don't you go off and get Thor like you're supposed to do? I'm going to sit here and remain with my fallen fellows. Bye-bye. They go off, they get Thor, as we know, and as they're on their way out, Queen Arcturus comes in again to make sure that they are able to escape peacefully. She dies too, though. Fucking and everyone, all of our other winged horse friends are dead. So what else is there? Make sure the fate of the world prevails, and we know that we need Thor to make that happen. So it really is a beautiful book. I don't do it any justice as far as coming across delivering any of the beautifulness that this is. I probably more focused on the comedic factor of it all, but that's just a part of what Tom Taylor can do. He's so good. And we also, we see Thor coming out of Berserker mode. I know a lot of people were wondering how the fuck that was able to happen. How that was part of the reason why Cap and crew couldn't get him back to begin with. And then in issue 4, he's just back, and people are going, well, how? Well, here you go. Keep in mind, this book, just like a lot of these tie-ins, are not in order. Just as they're released, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the reading order. This issue takes place after the events of issue number 2 of War of the Realms, so it's jumpy for sure. But still very, very enjoyable. As a matter of fact, I will be so bold as to say, just like the last Strikeforce book, the War Avengers, I said it was my favorite tie-in of the entire event so far. This book, Land of the Giants, is now my favorite tie-in of the entire event so far. So maybe it was because I had low expectations going in and it surpassed it. I don't know. But I also didn't realize that Tom Taylor was writing it either. So, and then the artistic crew was fucking beautiful. Go out and read the book. War of the Realms, The Punisher, number 2. Jerry Duggan, Marcelo Ferreira, Robert Poggi, and Rachel Rosenberg doing the colors. Did it again. And Juan Ferreira doing the cover. So as we know, the Punisher, he has all of these inmates or prisoners that he recruited, and they're still all shackled and chained up. And their job is to get this Dr. Baldwin's patients through this tunnel to a safe house. Well, this tunnel ain't no fucking joke, and they come across, and it's fighting trolls and Punisher being Punisher. And we actually get a super fucking Punisher moment for a second where he's standing on top of this troll. He gouges out his eyes and he's saying, I want to hear you scream, and hoping that your screams echo through the tunnels and bring on all of your other troll friends so I could fuck them up too. Essentially is what he's doing. It's fucking brutal, man. It really is. And the art complements the brutality of it all very well. It's a very violent comic. And just like Punisher hopes, all these other trolls come through, and as Punisher and all these inmates are trying to take on these trolls, one of the inmates turns on Frankie, hits him in the fucking face, knocks him out, and bum bum bum. What's gonna happen? Ferranti is the name of the inmate. So I'm thinking he's some gangster or something. I don't know. Frankie knows him by name, so you know that there's some sort of I really, really enjoyed this title. It's super unnecessary, I don't know, but very enjoyable. Let's move on to Asgardians of the Galaxy, ongoing, number 9, Cullen Bunn, Paolo Villanelli, and Federico Bli. Cover by Gerardo Sandoval and Antonio Fabella. You can imagine how tough it would be to tell an Asgardians of the Galaxy story right now on account of all the Asgardians are fucking dead. Well, there's a little bit of a twist to this. Not all of them. Brunhild, Valkyrie, she's dead, but there's something more to her character. Annabelle Riggs is an entity inside of her, if you will. Just a quick backstory. Annabelle Riggs saved Brunhild's life way back in the day. In order to repay her, she made sure that she would live on forever, and the two are pretty much one. But when Valkyrie dies, what happens to Annabelle Riggs? This story explains it. She goes to some sort of astral plane, I guess, and it's up to, who goes after her? Oh, it's Clea. Clea being, Doctor Strange's ex-wife, and, yeah, so she shows up and offers Ren, who's this human, this human chick who has a relationship with Annabelle. So that's the motivation there. Ren learns that Valkyrie's dead, just assuming that Annabelle is also dead. In Marvel's greatest fashion of convenience, Clea shows up, says, I'm going to help you, bitch. I need your connection in order to find Annabelle, so let's do this. They go to this astral plane and eventually track her down and take her back to Avengers Mountain. So that's what's going on there. I would have to guess, as far as the timeline of events goes, this takes place after the events of issue number 4 of War of the Realms. So this is probably in the current timeline of things. Probably not out of any order at this point, at least. I enjoyed it very much. I really did. They found something to create out of a story that really shouldn't have been there. So kudos to that. Venom ongoing, number 14, Legacy 179, Cullen Bunn again, Iban Coelho and Andres Mosa, covered by Kyle Holtz, Dan Brown. So I found throughout this whole story, we know that all of these continents and entities are taken over by other worlds and realms granted by Malekith. And we know that Roxxon is in charge of Antarctica. Well, throughout any of this, you haven't seen anybody going after Roxxon at all. Venom is what's going after Roxxon right now. He's not necessarily in Antarctica, but still, the fact is he's trying to take down Roxxon. Who read the last issue, you know that Eddie now has a Venom symbiote again with a little bit of Asgardian flavors and spices, thanks to this devious bitch of a witch and a wish stone. And at the end of that same last issue, Jack-o'-lantern, I was mistaken, and when I said Green Goblin or Hobgoblin, whatever I said was wrong in the last podcast. When I explained that issue, it was Jack-o'-lantern. Now he's got a wish stone. And he's got wish stone powers and Jack-o'-lantern and evil, and yeah, you could see where this issue is going, and that's exactly what it is. It's Eddie versus Jack-o'-lantern. And I think what they're really trying to drive home with this issue is that it is anger that drives this suit, and it's not going to stop working if Eddie can't stay angry. Kind of like a Hulk situation, but with magic. So, we get Jack-o'-lantern releases these pretty fucking dope hellhounds, and and we do get this funny moment where Jack-o'-lantern's releasing this fire, and Venom, well, you know, if anybody knows anything about Venom, know fire bad. And Jack-o'-lantern even comments, he's like, you have the power to will this thing to do whatever you want, and you still made it fearful of fire? What the fuck are you doing? Well, that actually drives it a little bit more. He realizes, like, oh, maybe I should fight through this. And he does. And, angrier. Now I'm angrier. The fire's making me angrier. Now I'm just bigger. And now I'm fucking you up even more. And, yeah. And then it ends with Venom going into a berserk mode. So, yeah. While Jack-o'-lantern's still flying around town, burning the city. Like an episode of Game of Thrones. It's fucking awesome, man. It's... I'm finding that the ongoing tie-ins are probably a lot more useful than the tie-ins developed just for the story, but it is what it is. It's all about making money, right? It's a business. Fucking some people's gonna like it. It just so happens that I'm some people with a lot of these comics. So good job, Marvel. Avengers number 19, Legacy 719. Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness, Mark Morales, Justin Ponser, rest your soul, and Eric Arcianega. So, finally, we get an Avengers book with some Avengers in it. It's not Squadron Supreme or anything like that. What's essentially going on here is Ursa Major is being recruited, and it's following this very, very oddball character, Gorilla Man. Ever heard of him? Probably not. So Gorilla Man, he's working with the Avengers. He's a bad guy trying to be good, and in order to prove that to the Avengers, he's trying to get Ursa Major from the Winter Guard. You know, the Russian Avengers that aren't so friendly. Well, Ursa Major has it in his head that Red Widow, the current leader of the Winter Guard, may not be so happy with old Ursa Major, so he's possibly on the fence, gonna help out. He never really says, but odds are he probably will. So the whole couple of pages is the first couple of pages is you get no real answer, but they really hint at it. And then just as we're not getting any answers, Khazar, really throwing everybody into this, comes flying through in this magic car and tells old Gorilla Man, who is also an agent of Wakanda. So that's actually more than anything. That's what this book is following, is the agent of Wakanda. And he says, "Look, you're needed. BP needs you. Come back to Avengers Mountain. Let's take care of shit." And we get that scene. BP is explaining to Gorilla Man, "I would like to trust you. And you're in charge of security for Avengers Mountain now while we go out and do shit." And Avengers Mountain gets attacked by a bunch of Dark Elves. And this is Gorilla Man's chance to prove himself. And really, it's just a story to show that a character that nobody heard of prevails, comes through, impresses, flexes. And yeah, it was a cool story. It's hard to say, but it also reintroduces Dracula into the situation. And Dracula's been an ongoing part of the Avengers story for quite some time in this Jason Aaron run. And you know that Sarge, remember Shadow Colonel, who's now dead, his big giant devil dog? Well, he wasn't taken away, he was taken into custody. And after all of this, we realized that Gorilla Man, who seemingly was a good guy, really was under the influence of Dracula the whole fucking time. So all of that, I want to help humanity and be good, and this is for the good of mankind, and the struggle in his head the whole time was he was faking it. And you could tell that he really does want to be good, but it's Dracula. You know, do you say no to Dracula? So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it very much, very, very much. There hasn't been an Avengers story out of the 19 in this run so far that has disappointed me. So, believe it or not, I was actually hoping for more Squadron Supreme. But what are you gonna do? Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 43. Montclair, Height, Duarte, and Bonvillain. This book takes place in the War of the Realms timeline after issue number 11 of Thor. So it actually takes place pre-issue number 1 of War of the Realms. It's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur talking with Thor, so you know that it's whatever. This is not. I highly, highly, highly doubt that this takes place after issue number 4 when Thor's back, because this just is completely out of context. It's really just trying to make Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur relevant, and what it really is it's trying to get somebody who's been following this entire series, who's never read a Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur comic before, to buy one. You win. You got me. I was actually excited to try to read something new for the first time. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I like the fact, she is Marvel's smartest character in the entire universe. So you would think there'd be something. Now, unfortunately, the art style, it doesn't draw me. It's not bad. It's just drawn out like old Disney type of thing. It's I don't know. It suits the story just fine. It's just not my steez. I got the same feelings towards Squirrel Girl. You see where I'm going? But yeah, it's did not need to happen. Did not need to tie in is the point. New Agents of Atlas number 2. Pack, Liam, and Blee. I stand by my word when I said I'm not reading this. I thought I would care more. I thought I would be interested at this point in time to at least open it up and see what's on the inside. I really don't care. I got my Greg Pack this week. I got my Greg Pack redemption this week out of Jabba the Hutt. I don't need the roller coaster. I'll find out. I'll realize through the other tie-ins if this book is important or not. Right now, I'm just not into the whole Asian only thing. And if you're not Asian, you're not included. Sorry, that's not my book. Uncanny X-Men #2, Legacy 636, Matthew Rosenberg, Pere Perez, and Rachel Rosenberg. My first impression after reading this book through the first time was confusion. Super confused. I know that the teams were split up, but there was just something about the way the settings were drawn out that didn't really differentiate the teams. I didn't know who was talking with who when. And essentially, the teams are split up, and they come back together, and Sabretooth is relevant. Sabretooth is fucking shit up. Sabretooth captures Magic and Wolfbane, because she's still alive now in this timeline, because this all takes place now before what the actual ongoing is. That's why the legacy numbering came out so weird. It's still weird, because it's trying to show that it's not progressing through the actual Uncanny X-Men ongoing story. It's very strange. Not my favorite book, but it's got Sabretooth in it, and Sabretooth is as brutal and as violent as he always is. I do dig that part. I was just confused for the most part. I did read it a second time and was able to decipher, but I'm not going to make your ears bleed with all that, because as it really turns out, it's all irrelevant, because they all come together. Cyclops does this really cool thing where, because, he's only got one eye now. And let's say one thing where he, shoots someone from a distance with a telescope. So he's like a sniper or something. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to find something great about it besides besides Sabretooth. I think I did actually say, whoa, like Keanu Reeves when I saw that, but whatever. Journey into Mystery, #3, Legacy 658. Another semi-pointless tie-in up until this point. They're not really... Well, they're kind of progressing it. I don't understand what I'm sure the outcome will make it all tie together. It was a very interesting book. It was entertaining to read. The cover is very deceiving, because you're looking at it and you're thinking, is that Moon Knight? Moon Knight hasn't been brought into this War of the Realms story yet. Why does he look like a ghost? And why is he riding a horse? Well, the answer to that question is that Marvel blatantly just fucking stole the Phantom Rider. Name and all. And put him in this story. Well, what does this have to do? So, the team, they're still on the run from Ares, who is under the power of the Cinder, the Queen of Ashes, who's busy with the new Agents of Atlas as well. She's a busy bitch. And she's sending Ares despite his willingness to do so after them, because she wants this baby Lhasa. Baby Lhasa is a god baby. She's Freya's baby, Odin's baby. Is a sister. You get what's going on here. The team is Kate Bishop and Miles Morales and Balder. And essentially, really the best part of this entire thing is Thori. Thor's dog. Every line that Thori delivers is fucking... it makes me giggle. I love it. I really do. It is the best part of the story. It makes me continue to want to turn the pages, hoping that Thori is just in the next panel. But they're away from the scrolls now, onward without really knowing exactly where they're going at this point, because every time they think that they're in a safe spot, surprise, it's not so safe. They roll up into this ghost town, thinking that that's the safe place to do, and hence the Phantom Rider and a bunch of other supposedly old famous cowboys. I just don't think they could have used names like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. They're just trying to give us I'm pretty sure they're just trying to give their reader the idea of that's who these guys are without... Yeah, it's a fun book of nostalgia. And really what it comes down to, the big takeaway from it all is this baby Lhasa keeps, especially by Thori, keeps being referred to as a demon. And everyone else like, no, he's so fucking cute. She's so fucking cute. Well, the baby's a devil on account of the fucking horns at the end. And that right there, I dig the fuck out of that. Turn the baby into Satan as it being a god baby. That's a twist. That's a twist for that ass. That's a bunch of goddamn War of the Realms books, huh? That was a bunch of War of the Realms books. I would say out of the 9 books, I would recommend 5 of them, skip 2 of them, and 2 of them are just kind of not necessarily my cup of tea.